You can't miss it, right? Our whole world of energy is changing, and it's happening fast. We see solar panels popping up everywhere, electric cars silently cruising by. But there is one single piece of technology that's really going to define our energy future more than anything else: the battery. So today we are going deep, diving into the 5 most important battery technologies out there right now and for the next decade. All of it based on solid, independent research.
Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. First up, we'll lay down the rules of the game. You know, how we're going to score these contenders. Then we'll meet the current champ in electric cars, the undisputed king of home storage, and then a rising giant that could honestly change everything. We'll also look at a couple of specialized players, and then, of course, we'll deliver the final verdict.
Before we can even think about crowning a champion, we need to know how this whole race is judged. And it turns out, every single battery, I don't care if it's in your phone or one that can power an entire city, it plays by the exact same 3 fundamental rules. If you get these, you'll get everything else that follows.
First up, energy density. Just think of it like this. How much punch can you pack into a certain amount of space or weight? Now, for anything that has to move, a car, your phone, a drone, this is absolutely critical. A higher energy density means you get a longer driving range or a phone that isn't a total brick. It's all about getting the most power in the smallest, lightest package possible.
Okay, next up, longevity. How long is this thing actually going to last? That's where cycles come in. Every time you fully charge and then discharge a battery, it degrades just a tiny, tiny bit. So a battery with a higher cycle count is going to have a much longer life, which you can imagine is crucial for something like a home battery that you're going to be relying on day in and day out for 10, maybe 15 years.
And finally, the big one, maybe the most important rule of all: safety. This is just non-negotiable, especially when we're talking about a big energy system sitting inside your house. How does a battery react when things go wrong? Is it stable, or does it carry a risk of fire? This single factor right here is one of the biggest and most critical differences between all these technologies.
All right, with those rules in place, let's meet our first heavyweight contender. This is the reigning champion of the road, the technology that powers the huge majority of electric cars, laptops, and smartphones on the entire planet: Lithium-ion NMC, which stands for nickel, manganese, cobalt.
So what's its secret weapon? Well, it's that incredible energy density we just talked about. It crams a massive amount of power into a really small, lightweight space. And that is exactly why it dominates the world of electric vehicles. It's the key to getting those long driving ranges without having to fill the entire car with super heavy batteries.
But, and it's a big but, all of that concentrated energy comes with a pretty significant risk. Its biggest weakness is a really dangerous chain reaction called thermal runaway. And once that starts, it is very, very difficult to stop.
Just look at this comparison. On one side, you have a normal, stable battery pack doing its thing. And on the other, well, that's the result of a thermal runaway event. If just one little cell gets damaged or overheats, it can set off a domino effect, heating up the cells next to it until the entire pack just fails violently, releasing this intense heat and a lot of toxic fumes.
So, to sum it up, NMC is like a sprinter. It's incredibly powerful, it's compact, but it has that built-in safety risk, a shorter lifespan of maybe 1,000 to 2,000 cycles, and it relies on these really expensive, politically sensitive materials like cobalt and nickel. That makes it perfect for mobility, but far from ideal to put in your home.
So if NMC is the sprinter, what about the marathon runner? Well, meet the solution to its problems, at least for stationary use. This is the current undisputed king of home and business storage: lithium iron phosphate, or LFP for short.
So why is LFP winning so decisively? Well, it pretty much comes down to 3 game-changing advantages. First, its chemistry is incredibly stable, which makes that risk of thermal runaway almost zero. Second, its lifespan is 2 to 3 times longer than NMC. And third, it uses abundant iron instead of cobalt or nickel, which makes it way cheaper and a lot more sustainable.
And listen, this isn't just my opinion. Major global research bodies like Germany's famous Fraunhofer Institute and the International Energy Agency, they've both independently come to the same conclusion. LFP is and will continue to be the dominant technology for stationary storage for the foreseeable future.
When you see it side by side like this, the choice becomes crystal clear, right? LFP trades just a little bit of that energy density, which means the box is slightly bigger for the same capacity, for massive,
huge gains in safety, lifespan, and cost. For a stationary application, like in your home or your business, where a few extra inches really don't matter, that is an unbeatable trade-off.
So if LFP is the current king, who's the rising giant that's challenging the throne? Well, it's a technology built from one of the most common, most abundant materials on Earth, sodium. Yep, the very same element you find in ordinary table salt.
Just let that number sink in for a moment. 1 million times more abundant. This completely reframes the whole conversation we have about resources and supply chains. This kind of abundance could pretty much insulate our energy storage from all the geopolitical drama and price swings tied to lithium and cobalt, creating a much more stable and accessible energy future for everybody.
What's really exciting is that sodium-ion basically takes all the advantages of LFP and just pushes them even further. The material costs are potentially rock bottom, its safety profile is just as good, maybe even a little bit better, it handles cold weather remarkably well, and yeah, its cycle life is a bit lower today, but it's improving at an incredible pace.
Now, let's be clear, sodium-ion isn't here in full force just yet. We're just seeing the very first commercial systems hit the market now. But look ahead a few years. Major industry players and agencies like IRENA are projecting that by the end of this decade, it's going to be a major competitor, especially for things like large-scale grid storage and ultra-low-cost home batteries.
Okay, finally, let's quickly touch on two specialists. One is a proven, tough-as-nails workhorse that's been quietly doing its job for years, and the other? Well, the other is the highly anticipated, almost mythical future of battery technology.
First up is the Zebra battery. It's incredibly robust. I mean, it literally cannot burn. But its weakness is that it has to be kept really hot to work, which means it's constantly wasting energy just to stay ready. So great for a remote cell tower in the Arctic, not so great for your garage. On the other side, you have the Holy Grail, solid state. It promises unbelievable energy density and safety, but it's still years away from mass production. And right now, it's way too expensive for anything but the most high-end applications.
Okay, this is it, the moment of truth. We've met all the contenders, we've seen their strengths, we've seen their fatal flaws. It is time for the final verdict. So after all of that, which battery technology actually wins? And the answer is, there isn't one single winner. There's just the right tool for the right job. For your car, you need the raw power of the splitter, which is NMC. For your home and business, right now, today, you want the safe and steady marathon runner, LFP. The people's champion, sodium-ion. Well, that represents the low-cost, abundant future we are all hoping for. And Zebra and solid state? They're still the ultra-tough specialist and the game-changing Holy Grail.
So you see, the ultimate question isn't just about which battery is best in a lab somewhere. It's about which one is best for a very specific purpose, from our cars to our homes to the entire electrical grid. Now that you know the contenders and what they're truly capable of, the real question is, which technology do you think is going to be powering your future?